Okay guys, so in this session we discuss about the fusion process. In last session we discussed about the fission process, and now that is the second nuclear process. What is this name? Fusion process. Okay, now what is the meaning of fusion? We already discussed about this, when the any two light nuclei just combine to each other and form a larger nuclei. Okay, so two light nucleus are just combined together and form a larger nucleus. So in this process some energy is released. And this process is known as a fusion. Fuse a two nuclei. Okay, these two nuclei are combined to each other. So what we call it is two light nuclei are fused into each other and form a larger nuclei. So that is a fusion process, and some energy is released. But there is a one problem in a fusion process. If we consider some example, let's consider, suppose we have a two hydrogen. Now we want we want a fusion process with this two hydrogen. Means what? Two hydrogen are just combined to each other. अपने पास दो हाइड्रोजन है. Consider there is a one small problem in this process. Consider, suppose it is hydrogen, it is another hydrogen. Now this both the hydrogen are just combined to each other, and form some new nuclei, whatever, but some larger nuclei is formed. So when these two hydrogen are combined to each other, what is the problem? See, hydrogen means what? Proton means charge is what? E plus. What is the charge? E. Actually plus E. Actually what is the charge? Charge is plus E for the hydrogen, because here is the proton is present. So proton is present. What is charge? Plus E. Here also proton is this. So what is the charge? Plus E. So when these two hydrogen are try to recombine to each other, then there is a one problem. What is the problem? When these both are recombined, why when those two nuclei are recombined to each other, what happen? When this nuclei and this nuclei both are comes in a contact like this. See, I am just drawing some bigger figure. Okay, let's say suppose it is a hydrogen nuclei, that is also hydrogen. So both are hydrogen nuclei like this. When these both are recombined to each other, so there is some responsible, which is a responsible force for this recombination. So that is a nuclear force. So this is the proton, again this is also proton, this is nuclei. So this both are recombined to each other. So which attractive force is applicable? Nuclear force. So due to this nuclear force, due to the very strong nuclear force, this both the hydrogen nuclei are recombined, are just combined to each other and form the larger nuclei. So due to very strong nuclear forces, the light nuclei are combined to each other and the fusion process will start. Okay, so due to very strong nuclear forces, two nucleus are combined and form a larger nucleus. So that is quite important note here. Okay, why? What is the reason to recombination of the two nuclei, or combination of the, actually not recombination but it is combination of the two nuclei? What is this? That is a very strong nuclear force. But when it is applied, if the distance between these two nucleus is less than the femtometer, okay, means this distance between the two nucleus must be required in the range of femtometer. So this is the range of femtometer. Why femtometer? Actually we already discussed about this one in a nuclear forces. This range is 0.8 femtometer. So if this range is 0.8 femtometer, then the nuclear force is applied here. So if distance is greater than this, then nuclear force does not apply. If you consider this first hydrogen atom somewhere here, first hydrogen is somewhere here, second hydrogen is somewhere here, and this distance is much more greater than the femtometer, then this is not combined to each other. Why? Because here the nuclear force is 0. Nuclear force is a short range force. So this is, there is only possibility to combination of this both one. This both must be comes very near to each other. If this hydrogen and this hydrogen try to combine to each other, okay, if they want to combine with each other, then they must be comes nearer to each other in the range of femtometer, otherwise it is not possible. Okay, so how this recombine? So when they are comes to near to each other, but there is again one problem. What is problem? When they are try to comes near to each other, this is the proton, this is the proton, so both are proton. So both are positive charge. So some repulsive force is produced. Electrostatic repulsive force is produced here. So on this hydrogen, the electrostatic force is applied on this direction, and on this hydrogen, electrostatic force is applied on this direction. So in a opposite direction, this repulsive electrostatic force is applied. So when they are comes near to each other, what is the equation of electric force? So electric force is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. As the R decreases, this force is increases. So this both the nucleus are comes to very near to each other, this force is much higher. When this force is much higher, then this nuclei must be overcome this force to recombine, to combine. Okay, otherwise it is not possible. So it means this both the nuclei having much higher kinetic energy. If this both are moving with very high kinetic energy towards each other, then this due to this high kinetic energy, this force is overcome, and this both are comes very near to each other. And then when both the nuclei are just in the range of femtometer, then the strong nuclear force is applied, and this strong nuclear force overcome this repulsive force, and this both the nuclei are combined to each other and forming a larger nuclei. And during this process, some energy will be released. Why this energy is released? As we discussed in the previous session, because light nuclei having a lower binding energy per nuclei, and the larger nuclei having a higher binding energy per nuclei. So this much of difference of energy between these two is released during the process, and this process is called a fusion process. Okay, so this force must be overcome by this kinetic energy. Okay, this force must be overcome by this kinetic energy, and when they are comes very close to each other, like this, very close to each other in the range of femtometer, then their nuclear force is applied, and this nuclear force overcome this repulsive electrostatic force, and finally this both the nucleus are recombined to each other. So that is a theory. That is our case to combination of the two nuclei. So how, if this kinetic energy must be overcome the electrostatic potential energy, we can say that. Okay, so this kinetic energy of nucleus overcome the potential barrier, actually electrostatic potential energy, we call it is potential barrier, So kinetic energy of the nucleus, both the nucleus, is overcome the electrostatic potential energy, we call it is potential barrier. So if any nuclei, any atoms is moving with some kinetic energy, so that is a we call it is this is called a thermal energy. How we provide this kinetic energy? How we give the kinetic energy to the both nuclei? If we increase the temperature, then this both the nuclei are moving under some thermal kinetic energy. So what is thermal kinetic energy? So this kinetic energy is in the form of thermal kinetic energy, means if we increase the temperature of the both the nuclei, if we increase the temperature of this both the nuclei, then the kinetic energy is increases, as we know. If kinetic energy increases, then we write it is a thermal kinetic energy, and this kinetic energy is overcome this potential energy. Now what is a potential barrier? What is a potential barrier? Means electrostatic potential energy when this both the proton at 1 femtometer, in the range of femtometer. Let's consider some, its value is approximately 4 kilo electron volt. Consider the potential barrier is equal to 400 kilo electron volt. Means potential energy is equal to, consider 400 kilo electron volt for two protons, for two protons, for two protons. That's just an example. You consider the 300, 200, 500, no problem, but our answer is approximately same. This is just an example. We consider 400 kV energy, suppose. Then how much temperature is required to combination of this both? How much? Because we just provide this kinetic energy by the meaning of increasing the temperature, thermal kinetic energy. So how much temperature is required to overcome this much of energy? You consider here 500, 400, 300, no problem. Just an example. Suppose we have a 400 kV energy. Okay, then how much temperature is required? So convert this value in terms of kinetic energy. So by the using of energy conservation of energy, kinetic energy is equal to potential energy. What is kinetic energy? Same one, this one. And what is kinetic energy? Thermal kinetic energy. Thermal kinetic energy is equal to what? 3/2 kBT. What is thermal kinetic energy? 3/2 kBT. Let's we calculate this value. So all of you guys put this value properly. So what is potential energy? 400 kilo electron volt. So 400 kilo electron volt is equal to 3/2 kBT. So this 3/2 kBT, what is the unit of this energy? Joule, and this energy is keV. So we must be convert this value keV to joule. Let us we convert this 3/2. What is kB? Boltzmann constant. Boltzmann constant is equal to what? Boltzmann constant, remember the thermodynamics. So Boltzmann kTg, thermodynamics kTg. So Boltzmann constant is equal to 1.38 into 10 raised to minus 23. This is Boltzmann constant into T. Okay, this all this terms is in terms of joule. This whole energy is in terms of joule, and temperature must be in terms of Kelvin. Joule. Temperature must be in terms of Kelvin. So that we have to count this value. So first you convert this value in terms of joule. So write down. So 400 kilo means 10 raised to 3. So 10 raised to 3 electron volt into joule. Already we discussed about this one. Let's say I am writing the value directly. 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 joule. So now this electron volt value converted into joule. Right hand side. So 3/2 into 1.38 into 10 raised to minus 23 into T. This is in terms of joule, but temperature is in terms of Kelvin. Temperature in Kelvin. Okay, see, this all this value known, this all value known except T. So find the T by the using of this relation. So finally you get this answer. T is approximately 10 raised to 8 to 10 raised to 9 Kelvin. If you count this value from this one, so approximately this answer is in terms of whatever, but it approximately 10 raised to 8 to 9 Kelvin means very large temperature, much more higher temperature. If this temperature is much more higher, then this process means the combination of two hydrogen is possible. Means for the fusion process, to start the fusion process, we require the temperature is in the range of 10 raised to 9 Kelvin. Otherwise fusion process is not possible. Why this much of higher temperature is required? Because of the overcome this repulsive force. because of overcome this repulsive force, and we have only one way to give the kinetic energy to overcome this force, by the using of thermal. Okay, so thermal kinetic energy is provided to this one by the increasing of temperature. But how much it is increased? 10 raised to 9. So it is quite impossible to produce anywhere. Okay, if you count this value, then it is quite impossible to produce anywhere. Okay, so fusion process takes place when the temperature is in the range of 10 raised to 8 to 10 raised to 9 Kelvin. So this type of fusion process, this type of nuclear reaction, because of this high temperature, okay, we call it is thermonuclear reaction. Thermonuclear reaction, or we call it is thermonuclear fusion. We call it is thermonuclear fusion. Okay, so at this much of high temperature is given to this both the nucleus, then this process is starts, otherwise not. Why? If we are not provide this much of temperature, we are not giving this much of temperature to the both nuclei, then this nuclei does not overcome the electrostatic repulsive force. Okay, for this both must be overcome this force to combine with each other. Okay, so that is the simple theory of the thermonuclear reaction or thermonuclear fusion. Actually it is not possible, but in a star, the temperature is, in a core of star, temperature is much more higher. So in the core of star, this type of reaction is possible. So in the next session we discuss about this thermonuclear reaction in star. Okay, before we are going to the next session, all of you guys note this all the theory in your books properly. Okay. Okay, so let us discuss about the fusion process in stars. How the energy is generated in a star. So if you consider the core of stars, then there is a temperature is much more high, 10 raised to 7, 10 raised to 6 to 10 raised to 7 Kelvin. Means because of this high temperature in the core of star, this type of fusion process is possible. Okay, but if you consider the real life, then that's quite difficult to maintain this much of higher temperature in any particular place. Okay, so this type of process is only possible in the star. So inside the star, energy is generated because of the fusion process of the two light nuclei, and it is formed one larger nuclei. Let us some example which is given in our textbook. We write this example here. So first process, there is a different possibility of the processes are given to us. So write down the process 1, case 1. Okay, case 1, which is given in our textbook. So first process is 1H1 and 1H1. 1H1 and 1H1 are recombined to each other, and it is form a deuterium 1s2 plus its form a beta plus with neutrino. So beta plus with neutrino, and when this process is occur, see, when the two hydrogen is combined to each other, one deuterium is formed and beta plus is released. So some of the energy is released in this process. So how much energy is released? So 0.42 MeV, 0.42 MeV released in this process. So if only two hydrogen are recombined with each other, and finally after the process 0.42 MeV of energy is released during this process in a fusion process of two hydrogen. Now this process is occurs 2 times. This process is possible for 2 times, and if it is same if it is a means two times fusion processes occurs, 2 deuteriums are formed. 2 deuterium are formed, and now again these 2 deuteriums 1s2 plus 1s2 are just recombined to each other, 1s2 and 1s2, and it is formed 2He3. It is formed 2He3 with one neutron, and in this process 3.27 MeV energy released. If you consider this process, see, so first this process occurs, one deuterium is formed, Again this same process occurs, again second deuterium is formed. Now these two deuterium are again joined to each other at very high temperature, this one, and it is formed one isotope of nucleus. So isotope of helium, one isotopes of helium with the one neutron is released here, and in this process how much energy is released? So 3.27 MeV energy will release in this process, in a second process. Okay, now again these this deuterium are maybe recombined to each other, 1s2 plus 1s2, second possibility. This is the different possibility. Okay, second possibility, what? It's form a tritium, 1s3 plus proton, 1h1 means proton, 1h1 means what? Proton. This hydrogen nucleus, what is hydrogen nucleus? Hydrogen nucleus contains one proton, so that is called a proton. You just write hydrogen or you just write proton, this both are same. And in this process 4.03 MeV energy will be released. If you consider this situation, see, then this process occur two times. Okay, so two deuteriums are formed. If this two deuterium has formed, so and this two deuterium is again combined with each other and helium is formed, isotope of helium is formed. And maybe if this is not possible at a time, so maybe this one is also possible. If this one is recombined to each other, then 1h3 energy will be 1h3 nucleus will be formed, and in this process 4.03 MeV energy released. So this type of process, see, if consider this process, then how much total energy will be released? So 0.42, 3.27 and 4.03, and this is occurs two times. Why? We want this one. If you consider this one also, then this process is occurs four times, two times here and two times here. So how much total energy released? If this one cycle is complete, if you consider this one cycle is complete, then how much energy will be released in this process? So 4 times this one, so 4 into 0.42. You just count this process is in a one cycle, in a one cycle total energy is how much? This is 4 times, so 4 into 0.42. This is one time, so plus 3.27. This is again perform one time, then 4.03. This much of energy in MeV is released in a one cycle. Means 4 into 2, total 8 hydrogen are recombined with each other. Total how many hydrogen? 4 times process and 2 hydrogen. So 4 into 2, total 8 hydrogen recombined to each other, or 8 hydrogen recombined to each other, and this much of energy will be released in a fusion process. So see, that is quite high. 4 plus 3 is approx 7, and 4 into 0.42, so 1.6. So you count this, means large amount of energy will be released during a fusion process. Another cycle is also given to us, that is called a proton-proton cycle. Let's write this one, another cycle which is described in our textbook. This is called a proton-proton cycle. Proton-proton cycle. By this cycle, some energy will be released. Let's rewrite this process here, which is given in our textbook, proton-proton cycle. It is called a proton-proton cycle. Means two protons are combined with each other and some energy will be released. Okay. Let us write 1h1 plus 1h1. There is a number of steps are given. So let's write the different steps. Steps number 1. 1h1 plus 1h1, two protons are combined to each other and form a deuterium 1h2 with the emission of beta plus with neutrino and 0.42 MeV energy will be released. So that is the first process. Now the second process is what? There is given beta plus and beta minus are combined to each other, and the two gamma rays produced, gamma plus gamma, with that maybe different energy, we don't know. Let's rewrite gamma plus gamma, gamma plus gamma, and in this process total 1.02 MeV energy will be released. Now next step in this process is which one? Third one. Let us write down this one. So what is this next process? Third one. 1s2 plus 1h1. 1s2 plus 1h1, and finally it's form the isotope of helium, 2he3. The isotope of helium, 2he3, and here some gamma will be released. And how much energy released in this process? So 5.49 MeV. Okay, and the finally fourth one, if you consider the fourth process, then it is 3he, means this 2 helium is recombined to each other. This 2 helium is recombined to each other, and 2he4 is produced with the 2 hydrogen, and in this process total 12.86 MeV energy will be released. If you consider this situation, see, then you just finalize this process. We just write down one finalized process of this final one. Okay, so see how in this process, if you consider this one, you need 2 isotopes of helium. So this process must be required 2 times. This process must be required 2 times. So multiply with the 2. How many times is this process required? 2 times. Then this type of 2 helium is produced. Okay, so if this process must be required 2 times, and you require 2 deuterium, so this process is again required 2 times. So this process is again required 2 times. Then what happens? See, you just must be note here. So total how many hydrogen is required in first process? This 2 multiply by 2, so total 4 hydrogen. Or how many hydrogen required? 4 hydrogen. So 4 hydrogen recombine to each other, and it's formed 2 deuterium here, and this 2 deuterium is formed here, and again here 1 hydrogen in one process. So total 2 hydrogen here. Total how many hydrogen you have? 6 hydrogen. So 6 hydrogen is required left hand side. So this is balanced. Okay, and finally you have to form this one. Okay, so let's write this conclusion of this final processes. So 6 hydrogen are fused into each other, and it's form 2he4 plus 2 into 1h1 and plus energy. Actually this 6 and 2 is already after the completion of process you will get the 2 hydrogen. So what is the final one? So finally you have only required 4 hydrogen in this process. So 4 1h1 are recombined to each other, it's form 2 hydrogen 2he4, and some beta process is also required, and plus some energy, and it is balanced by it is actually some intermediate terms is required here. It is balanced 6 2 plus 2. Okay, so let's balance it by some process. 2 neutrino in this process, with this one neutrino and gamma and everything is produced. See, intermediate sum. So this is just a balancing of reaction, plus here 2 neutrino is formed and 6 gamma is produced. 2 neutrino and 6 gamma is produced, and with this 2 electrons is also required. So plus 2 beta minus. So this type of process. So finally you get this. Finally in this process you get this. See, I am just write from the textbook. You can write this way or this way. 4 1h1 plus 4 electron, it's recombined with each other, 2he4 plus 2 electron plus 2 neutrino plus 6 gamma and plus energy, and here plus energy. You just write 4 hydrogen, no problem. You cancel out this one. Then you just write here 4 hydrogen. That's both are same. So how much energy? This is the after put this all this value here, you get final answer of this one is like this. Okay. So how much energy will be released here? So this energy is 26.7 MeV. 26.7 MeV means you just count this all this value 0.42 into 2 plus this process 1.02, this process 2 times 5.49 into 2 and 12.86. So finally after calculate this all this value, you get how much? 26.7 MeV energy will be released in this process. So you must be remember this like a fission of uranium, 200 MeV energy will be released. Similarly, you must be remember here in a fusion of hydrogen in a one cycle, how many hydrogen is required? 6 minus 2, total 4 hydrogen. Total how many hydrogen you have to require? 4 1H1 required. Okay, so in a fusion of 1H1 in a one cycle 4 hydrogen is required, and total and 26.7 MeV energy will be released. All of you guys must be remember this data, how much energy will be released in a one cycle. So 26.7 MeV energy will be released during a one cycle, because this is helpful to solve out the different problems. Okay, now another thing, this process is continuous. After the time was passes. Okay, thus number of hydrogen is actually the hydrogen is converted into helium. So after this process, after the fusion process inside the star, hydrogen is depleted and it is converted into helium. You must be noted, hydrogen is deflated and it is converted into helium. हाइड्रोजन हीलियम में कन्वर्ट हो रहा है यहाँ पे, तो इसका डिप्लेशन होगा, मतलब इसका लेवल है वो कम होगा और हीलियम का लेवल अप होगा. तो पूरा हाइड्रोजन जब हीलियम में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा तब क्या होगा? when the whole the hydrogen inside the core of star, this is converted into helium, then what happen after this? After this, if this process is occur at what temperature? This process is occur at what temperature? 10 raised to 6 to 10 raised to 7 Kelvin. But after depletion of the whole hydrogen inside the core, temperature is decreases. You must be noted, temperature is decreases and this process will be stopped. This fusion process inside the core of star will be stopped at that time, and then after decrease of temperature, if it is stopped, then energy production is stopped, and finally due to the gravity, when this temperature decreases, then due to gravity, the own gravity, star is collapses. When the star is collapses, again temperature will be rise, again temperature increase up to 10 raised to 8 Kelvin. Again I am just repeat this concept. See, due to this process, hydrogen is depleted inside the star and helium will be formed, and finally all the hydrogen is converted into helium. Okay, then this fusion process is stopped, and due to the this process, its temperature is decreases, and due to own gravity of the star, due to the gravity of the star, this star is to collapse, and due to this collapsion process, again temperature increases up to 10 raised to 8 Kelvin. 10 raised to 8 Kelvin, and finally after when this temperature is reached inside the core of a star, again this process start and helium is converted into carbon. Helium is converted into carbon, the new process will be starts. Okay, again the energy is generated, and after a similar way this type of process is continue. This fusion process is continue when the final element after the fusion process, final element of the reached here, which is iron. ओके यहाँ पे जब जैसे हाइड्रोजन हीलियम में कन्वर्ट हुआ, हीलियम कार्बन में कन्वर्ट, ऐसे प्रोसेस कंटिन्यू रहेगी जब तक फाइनल एलिमेंट आयरन मिलता है तब तक, ठीक है। तो ऐसे मतलब काफ़ी लंबा समय टोटल जो सन की, जो अब हम सन की बात करते हैं उसकी आयु है अप्रोक्सीमेटली 5 × 10⁹ ईयर। आफ्टर दिस प्रोसेस विल बी over. Okay, so very large time is required to convert this hydrogen to the iron. Okay, but this is the one process, and the second process is called the formation of helium to carbon. Helium to carbon is called a carbon cycle. Like this is the proton cycle, so second one is called a proton carbon cycle, but it is not in our syllabus, so all of you must be note this. Which one? What happened after the depletion of all the hydrogen inside the core? Let's say I'm again just telling to all of you, hydrogen is depleted, helium is formed, temperature decreases due to gravity, thus all the star is collapsed, and after due to the collapsion is temperature again increase up to 10⁸ Kelvin, and finally again new fusion process starts. Conversion of means the transform of helium is transformed into the carbon, and of this process is continue, and this type of process, fusion process, is continue when the final element is iron. Okay, we get the final element iron, and finally this one is stopped after getting the iron. Okay, so all of you guys must be note this, and we have a one cycle, we have one process, carbon cycle, but it is not in our syllabus. Okay, but all of you guys must be note this process in your books. Okay guys, that's one process is writing here, that is a proton carbon cycle. That is only for information, so you just write in a note. Okay, so this carbon is just combined with hydrogen, the fusion takes place, and this type of process is continuing. After if you calculate this one, see, if you see this one, then and the resistance, 4 hydrogen is combined with each other in a proton carbon cycle. In a proton carbon cycle, 4 hydrogen is combined with each other, and it is formed a helium nuclei, exactly similar to the first process, and finally some energy will be released here. After calculating this one, we get this answer. So in this process, this carbon is just used as a catalyst. This carbon is used as a catalyst, and finally we get this type of end process. So in a proton cycle, we just get the same result. In a proton carbon cycle, we get the same result, and this type of process is continue. Finally iron is obtained. Okay, so that is just one process for information. Now one topic is given in our textbook, page number 457, and topic number 13.7.4, control thermonuclear fusion. This type of process, fusion processes occurs at the temperature 10⁶ or 10⁷ Kelvin, but within some confined space it is quite difficult to operate this temperature. Okay, if when all those countries are just working based on this one to create some nuclear fusion process in some confined space. But what is the problem with this one? This process occurs at very high temperature, so sustaining of this type of high temperature is quite difficult with any type of structures. Okay, so all the countries just working on this one, and this is the if this type of process is possible, then this process gives us infinite energy to us. Okay, so right now you just read this topic in a textbook, topic number 13.7.4 and page number 457. Okay, and note this cycle as a note this process in your notebook. Okay, note it.